Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, the Grand Arena-focused podcast centered around the top 100 of Kyber 1. I am joined by my regular co-hosts Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, week 2 was lessons learned kind of week. Margin of victory ranged from very slim to it would have been my win if I had just not made a couple dumb moves. So we'll say the margin of loss varied from small to medium. That said, I went 1 and 2 on the week. What say you, Dagger?
Reno.
My goodness, I'm shocked. However, did you manage this feat?
By being better than my opponents, it's a complete skill game where I'm at, and definitely my opponents all scored more than like 10, but less than 20.
That's fantastic. You just have the world's most rigorous defense, surely.
Yes. Oh, for sure. No one is penetrating the 2 GLs I have set.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
It's also confirmed. Dagger gets no penetration. Confirmed.
I have procreated enough to prove that I do.
The kids are in the pudding. Yes.
yeah. I just want to throw that out there. There's a lot of things you can say about me. That's not one of them.
That's fair. He's got the receipts. All right, TJ, how about you? How'd the week go?
Oh man, it continues with the pain. 1 and 2. So it was all right. I fought the super offense crime we heard tales of on SLKR, and that stomped the mud hole. So I'll take the beating. And then the second one was the oh shit moment of taking the wrong character. So 1 and 2, it'll be what it is. And I'm still Kyber 1 though, so it's good. So it's still, you're taking that line.
You and Dagger are gonna meet somehow in the middle though.
I'm sure we will, because he'll continue his 3-0 reigns, and I'll keep doing my thing. I am the true epitome of kicking my own ass.
Fantastic. I believe that, actually. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sasha Aisha, sir, how about you? How'd the week go?
Good. I had multiple real matches in the top bracket, and I went 3-0. So yeah, it was a good week. Unusual to get like good amount of competition and get to 3-0 in that bracket, which never comes easy. And we'll get into the Tales of Woe and Valor as we progress here.
All right. Sounds good. Fatal, I know you set the stage for us last week to have very low expectations of your week 2 because you got jammed out of locking in with your mod spec you'd built out in Hot Utils. Nevertheless, how did you fare?
I just ended up not playing the last 2 rounds, so 1 and 2, but also I don't know. It's been a shit show week for me, just in general. Not feeling super well. Then round 1 was Tom Ford, and he had some shitty stuff going on that it was just like, we're just the best this week, I guess. It's just nobody's having fun here. But I don't know. Technically 1 and 2. It was just I tested one specific matchup that we'll discuss later, all 3 rounds, and that was the extent of my engagement.
Okay, dig that.
This is the closest I've been to I'm just here so I don't get fined, but also I'm incredibly excited for this last week because I finally get to do everything I worked on.
Amen.
Well, we're all
I've been
looking forward to
that
it.
for a while, so I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing, the plan actually get executed this week, and I wish you all the best in feeling better and feeling up to the stream, because we will be tuning in.
My offense
is better when Fatal is playing. That is for sure.
My offense will be fucked. Everything will be posted. This is my promise.
Very good. Very good. Okay, guys, an agenda to dig into. And we'll see where the evening takes us. We'll see how quickly we get through this. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, first section, meta-analysis. Topic 1, Slacker with Dark Ray. I would expect all of us encounter this on the opponent's defense every round. Feel free to correct me if that was not the case.
No, my opponents failed miserably with it on offense.
Corrected, and I have an interesting point that I saw that we'll go to, but faced it only once, but I faced the Nightmare scenario. So it was very enlightening and changes my outlook on it.
My round 2 and 3 cheese, so I didn't get to see it on the board unless it was all back wall.
Okay. Well, if you eager beavers let me finish the back half of the sentence, you guys seem to
Nope.
have us lined up for it because it's time for Tales of Woe and Valor on Slacker Dark Ray. So yeah, TJ, you were the first one to remark.
Yes.
You fought it just the one time. You said it's the horror scenario with the set 18, Balin Kron with high offense.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
300% offense, 295. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I'm correct. And that you don't get to play the fight the way, like I'm watching all the people like, yeah, I just wouldn't use this. No, the fuck you didn't. That is not the same bullshit. Shut your mouth. You go sit down when you pee right now. So I will tell you, because Tash, you faced it and I watched your stuff. Fatal, I think, man, I'm really sad you didn't stream the other 2 times, Fatal, because yours was like, get the popcorn good, because you went through the dynamics of watching. I think, was that Tom Ford who sent you the video? And I'll let you,
yes.
I don't want to steal it. Okay. It was cool seeing that, but watching where the fail points can be and you breaking it and dissecting it. I will say I did JMK, and not for the taunt. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely needs, I think, the GK for some kind of immunity to try to stop it. But 300% offense, I got my shit pushed in with JMK. They did the hard target on my cat, fine. And I watched, I know you can come out of that and you can get around, but the damage that's going in and the amount of times that he's going, every time he's doing something, add 300% offense to each hit. My team was just getting like torn apart. So it is not so simple, and people need to take that into account. Fatal, you put it out, you did it again. You put it into the world. They put the bail in, but it was the right call because I had nothing for it. I was not ready. I tried JML just to get a sense of what it was going to look like, and it was hilarious when he did the one move and I was down 2 characters. They were gone. JKR, poof, gone. And we're talking, I had a good 45% protection cron on top of it. Did not matter. SOKR swiped my team away. So that was good. So I was like, all right, let me go in with JMK and see what that looks like. And again, it's just not the same thing of saying, yeah, I had to fight the bulk. It's like, did you fight 300% offense? No. Then we didn't fight the same fight. And that dude, by the way, Darth Chris, went 3-0. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's I'm grateful that the Hunter Cron is not continuing this trend.
Oh my god, man. It's not the rest of the team. Don't get me wrong. It's not the rest of the team that makes it like that offense into SOKR. I think we forget how powerful he really is when he's given the right tools. And that tool is phenomenal. And
One thing to add, it's not just SLKR. It's that offense thrown into D-Ray. Because particularly if somebody's bringing Bane, which I know is most people's go-to. She has her Ray mini ult, and when you get a jacked up offensive cron like we were talking about, TJ, assume it's just Bane, and you've gotten to the point that would seem optimal if you're playing Bane on offense is like, hey, my Sith Assassin died or whatever it is gone. So all right, now my Bane is jacked up. Now with a cron that hits that hard, that AoE or that mini ult from Dark Ray is doing 450k damage to Bane.
I didn't get to the point to do that. So I like your call out, Sasha. But when you're already sad, when you're already sad and all these people have gone away, you don't think about the other things other than just being sad. But it's a good call out. I didn't get a chance to do it because Chris set the board correctly. He pulled my my Bane. He did the things he needed to. So it's fair, right? It's like all respect to the setup. But like I said, the JMK you would still think would be mighty effective. Even if you get stunned, you have the durability and time to go through. Man, you just don't. And as she did take a turn or two, but against JMK, it doesn't feel as bad. I didn't ever go to a point where I was like, oh man, Dre went and she did this. It's like, no. SOK went and it's like, oh no, he's going to go again. And with her on the team, he takes so many turns. We don't care about TM because he just bonus turning the hell out of you. At least that's what it felt like to me. And they were just gone. Team could not sustain what was going on.
Guys,
There you go. Tails well.
Well, I appreciate that because that was that sounds horrible. And I'm looking. I don't know if you're seeing on screen. I sorted out the data for Slacker with Dark Ray, with her 3 Omicrons applied, and both of them at least Relic 7, assuming the Balin Cron on. I just sorted with the Balin 9 on, so that'll pick up with or without the best offense. I did sort on bulk, so that was also there. It's a fairly small set of data.
Right.
You can see here that the one where they went in without Padme but had both Mace and GK, it kind of makes sense with all the stealth-related shenanigans why that might work a little better. This is a case of 1 and got 64.
It's good if you have both Mace and GK, but if you put GK on defense, it doesn't work as well.
Oh, for sure.
And that's where,
but yeah. to your point, like I've been hearing all around that JMK is just a great shutdown for this Slacker thing, and you're saying not if you're fighting this, and you know what? You still got 1 more week ahead of you with it. So to your point, if you know you're fighting it, you got to plan for it, and it looks like Mace might be helpful, but it's sample size of 1, so I don't know. But here, for the more regular comp that's going to have Padme and GK in there, I was looking for a rule in the defense about who are the last 3, because I only sorted on Slacker and Dark Ray. And it doesn't really look like a strong pattern emerges. I see crew a lot of the time, but where I don't see crew, I also see drops. What I will say is that when it results in a hard shutdown of the enemy team where no one is dying on the Slacker team, it looks most often to occur where Hux and crew are both present. Again, we're talking about a sample size of less than 30 fights, something like that. Like, what is
That's what I based, by the way.
Sample size of 10. Sample size of 10. So let's not read anything too strong, but
I faced crew on it, and it does feel to have some merit there as well. Why
would that matter for? Well,
it's just
another one returning taunt. But so you're jammed up only until your first ultimate.
Whenever you get to it, you have to remember too. You still have to be able to get to the fight and being able to do the stuff. And they're taking a million turns. So you're assisting and everything
you
else
would be using
stopped.
to generate ultimate charge for JMK would need to be getting casted some way, somehow, regardless. But the point is that if there's double tanks, then I guess until you get to ignore taunts, you might get jammed up between them. But you're still generating ultimate charge just about the same way, regardless whether it's 1 tank or 2 tanks or crew. Or am I wrong about that?
I think it's going to be based on the team you're going and who's being disrupted, because they don't care about taunts, so they're stopping people already. They're already stunning and stopping. Crew's going in there and stopping somebody else. His first move is to also.
Is your question, do they generate more ult? Because they generate ult when they crit.
No, what I'm saying is, in the case of JMK being said to be a pretty great shutdown for this, and me not seeing any hard or fast rule for this, but TJ actually having dropped to it, but he didn't actually fight it with double tank. He did fight it just with crew. So I'm saying, as opposed to fighting it with Faust, how did you feel that makes a difference for the JMK matchup?
It probably doesn't change the JMK matchup much, because the reason you're putting him there is to go behind everyone and turn meter up at the end.
Okay.
Right? It's to kind of just make the team go a little bit more. But as far as the ult charge goes, the reason why JMK is a popular answer is because you can't crit them while they have prod up. So that you really slow them down on the SLK ult.
Mm-hmm.
Production.
Fair.
The thing I'll put out into the world is, this is the JMK versus SOK win rate right now around 80%. The horror that I want to put into the world that I want to eat at you if you end up holding JMK because you're a piece of shit. I don't think you need to be worried about Cat getting focused. I think you need to be worried about Ahsoka eating the poke.
I got both sides of the problem. So she did get focused, and I watched yours where it happened, and I agree with it. I got all of the bad. So again, no taunt, no nothing else like that. It was the poke on Cat. It was the crew stunt on Snips. I'm telling you, like my team, it was like I'll take the covet of the RNG getting me right and catching me, and I felt the pain from that. That double setup, like I couldn't move fast enough, and they were eating my team up as it was going on. But it's just like you're playing the mechanics of the game.
Really, really quick. How did they remove the taunt from GK?
Doesn't matter. They can bypass taunt.
Dark Raid lets people with advantage ignore taunt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Never
That's
mind.
what I'm saying. Your first move is they're gonna poke somebody. The taunt's not there. I like the GK because of the crit immunity as well, because you're trying to play the things, and why I said it's definitely necessary there. And it's not the taunt. It's literally just the crit immunity I'm thinking of, because you're just trying to slow it down to get in front of it again.
If the JMK squad has a locked stun on Snips, I think you just straight up lose like 2.5 minutes of fight time. Like, without her having the assist dispel to pop the advantage off, you lose so much damage.
So GK is usually a very high AI priority. Clearly, when they have the discretion to ignore him here, they do. Can you game this by dropping Padme and putting in Grandmaster? Did anyone try?
Gas.
You could, yeah.
But you have to remember, GK is a higher priority because you can't get the Cat. If I'm not mistaken, when they can get to Cat, they're going to go for her as a high priority. I think we're discounting that.
I think I'm hearing consistently from the both of you that when Slacker can take his pick, he's going to go for Snips, right? Not Cat?
No.
I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying it's a nightmare when it does.
Yeah.
He's saying it. Yeah, he's saying it's a lose. It's basically a lose condition if, right?
It's at least a huge time waster, because all of a sudden you lose the ability to access critting, and you lose Xian stacking a ton. It would just be very, very bad for the flow of the fight.
Yeah, but are we talking about Slacker preferring to stun Cat or Snips?
No, we're not talking about any of
I wasn't talking about that at all.
Oh.
We were talking about they have two turn unresistible stuns between Crew and SLK. So
I think
regardless of who it was hitting, it's just bad for your momentum.
Yeah,
I think it's just random if we're talking GK Padme.
Okay.
Yeah, and Snips is a low roll, basically.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Well, I'll go next on this topic, because I don't know what else you guys got about this matchup, but I present to you in 3 parts the tale of Bane versus this team. In round 1, I used Bane Sass, and it was against a Balin Kron. I used his third as an opener. We lost Sass really quickly, which was great because I was able to go third, second, third. And then it was kind of just me and Slacker, and unfortunately, over the course of the rest of the fight, he just had enough swipes on me where the reduction of my mastery meant enough of my accuracy was lost, and I was missing everything, essentially. He just killed me before I could kill him. And I cleaned that up. I think you guys would be proud. The old ways reign supreme. I used Geo's Droidica. Got it done in round 1. Round 2, I thought that, seeing how it went in round 1, I wonder if I bring Set, who has a taunt. Yes, I know they can ignore taunt, but that really isn't the point. The point is what if they do hit him and he doesn't die instantaneously like a Sass otherwise probably would? Would Slacker prefer to do his swipe targeting the stunned guy to gain the maximum mastery? I don't know how it's coded. I don't know if he has the preference for it, but I was willing to risk that on the gamble that if they did focus Set, then when it was just down to me and Slacker, I would have, that much less of my mastery removed. And the theory was good, but then it was immediately disrupted by getting into the fight and seeing that it was not, in fact, a Balin Kron on this Slacker. It was a damage immunity at battle start. And I was immediately unconfident. I was like, the cooldown reduction, I think, should work. Whether or not I do damage, but can I actually take the risk? And I thought, maybe. So I used his middle, Bane's middle, thinking that I get around to my next turn, soon enough, and just proceed with the fight. Nah, it doesn't work like that. You actually can. It turns out, as I learned in the third round, spoiler, you can, in fact, do the cooldown increase, whether or not they're in damage immunity, so that would have been just fine. And the consequence of doing that, even though I did dispel the damage immunity and their advantage, and I was able to critically hit, theoretically, thereafter, that doesn't matter, because them having all their specials available when it's just the two of us sucks. And we nearly died before we used our next special, and yeah, you know what? I'll just save you the rest of the details. The bottom line was we had to withdraw. So, couple things with that. Set sticking around proved to be, not worth it. The idea I was going with, there was at least a thought behind it, but clearly not worth it in execution. SAS was a much better choice in terms of getting out and actually blowing up the side characters, getting it down to just me and the big man early, as soon as possible. And of course, the other issue with using middle first. Bad times. So, round 3, with all of this knowledge learned and wisdom gained, I went in for Bane Sass. And I want you all to know that it was very intentional for this third round that I went in with Bane Sass versus Slacker. I in no way intended to do JMK against Slacker. And again, in absolutely no way, like an ape, did I just go ahead and habitually use JMK against Lord Vader Ufus and lose that fight. And I think that's an important detail to highlight. All right, let's take a look at this. So, we do the cooldown increase. Okay. Hit him. Important not to go under stealth. I just want her to get killed. Do it again? Yes, because Rey took a turn and I didn't want to risk her doing what she did to me in round 2, which is using that, big true damage on me. So, not today. Not today, Satan. We get an ultimate, but we survived? This part was terrifying. It was terrifying. This was a Kron that had about 25% health on it, a set 18. With a little over 100% crit damage, something like that, for context. So you can see, we basically survived the worst of it and then knocked it out. So, opening with third, not like a complete dodo, was great. I'd recommend it to anybody. And that is my tale. Thank you, guys. Anybody else got something on this matchup against Slacker from last week? It doesn't have to be Bane. It doesn't have to be JMK. I will say this. I did do JML on one cleanup attempt. Spoiler, not good.
I'll go through quickly the versions that I saw and set, because I changed the comp that I set, and I saw multiple different versions. So I saw one that was just the standard Hux and Red, with Faust, and I saw another that was Hux, Faust, but instead of red, Phasma. And that one was interesting because it had a dark side thick Kron, non-Balin, with 110% health. So it was like crazy thick. I knew that they would stick around for a while. That one I brought Bane. But I brought Bane's set because I wanted company for the first time Rey was going to use her AoE true damage, and I would say, I don't have the video of it, but it looked a little like the one that you just showed us, where there were definitely moments of regret during the battle, or anxiety, and I'm sure my biometrics were flashing red, and then. Ultimately, Bane did survive, so set went down, and I did not take an ult there in between and was able to win. I was very anxious against a Balin Kron in the next one, and I actually, in my matches against Aesop and against Rockstar, it really came down to, kind of bunch of bloodletting on one another's SLKR, and I brought because there had been, and I'll get to this in my offensive matches, there's some pretty interesting and efficient things you can do against Ahsoka. I brought my Ahsoka and Spectre squad, and that ran pretty darn smoothly. I mean, it's expensive. I could argue it's cheesy, but I said a hell of a defense without it, and I just figured that was the one kind of critical juncture. That was the big gate for me to be able to get through, and I wanted to set enough of a defense elsewhere to afford me that that luxury, and it worked. It worked against a Balin Kron that, and now it was not a 300%. It was like 60-70% maybe. I can't recall, but it did work. It did work.
Wow. Okay.
And I myself, by the way, what I switched to against Aesop in the final was a Faust, Crew, and Hux. I did not set red, and
Yeah.
my goal with it. Yeah, my goal with that was basically, assuming he's probably going to try and take it out with Bane. I don't feel confident that I have a way to protect my Hux from like Aesop's level Bane, so I was probably going to lose it. But I wanted the rest of the squad to be able to hang around, ideally with the taunt. I know Bane can ignore taunt, but like I'm thinking, if I can survive and get Bane out, that is a real tough cleanup. If you've got the two tanks, SLKR and Dark Ray, and it proved to be the case. I mean, I think it took 7 battles. So yeah, that was my approach and experience.
Fantastic. All right, guys. If nobody had anything else on that particular fight, a subset question, on this topic is for Dark Ray herself. Based on your observations, how do you have her modded for this third week? I'm going to pull mine up real quick just so you guys can see. There we go. Yeah, that is definitely full mag. So, okay. So the idea here is that we don't have the most health. We don't have the highest speed. We certainly don't have the highest offense. But we do have very strong armor. And I dare say one of the best balances of the rest of the other stats. So I'm going in at 340, 117,000 health, 8.7k offense, 68% armor. And I don't know, TJ, does your dog approve or disapprove?
Only approve, sir. As you can see, she's digging in on the defense modding, so she approves of it. You're good.
All right, good. So long. I wanted to know that she liked it because that was ambiguous. That was enthusiasm barking. I don't know if it was like it or dislike it. But yeah, guys, that's kind of the tweak I made. So I was about 3. I kept the speed about the same. Pushed for a lot more offense because I saw the threat created by that lightning against only 1 or 2 targets. How about you guys? Any changes? Any lessons there?
That was pretty much how my default modding was going to be. I guess depending on how popular Bane is, then yeah, maybe it would tweak my ratios of offense secondaries versus defense. But it wasn't really a specific thing for me to begin with. I just chose mods with good offense and defense both. So yeah, just trying to maximize Balin Grun. Since mine is so bulk oriented, just leading in on the bulk plus offense.
You have to
for the last week.
So the only thing I want to ask real quick for you, because Fadel, I think you did a really good job. I know you didn't give any notes, but you did a really good job on your stream when you were going through it. And you called out the speed down. I didn't want to steal your thunder, but since you did call it out, I wanted to ask you if it's not necessarily the Dre for the modding or the change requirements. Was there anything else to the team to try to help assist the Bane loss, if that makes sense what I'm asking? Because you called out the speed down, right? And you were calling out the timing, and you felt, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you felt like the speed down was something, the same thing like you would do with the Queen Amidala team, right? Your fail point is like you get the days on you, and you really can't do anything, and then you just fade away. And it does feel like Bane and JMK are the two money makers, but it seemed like that speed down and the timing of where the speed down landed to where Bane couldn't get in front and then stopped. You basically stopped in his track and it took the loss. So maybe not necessarily the Dre, but maybe the other characters and the timing of the speed down from there that would help kind of stop it from going forward.
I know it's not the quality answer you're looking for, but honestly, the remod that I had for week 2 is the remod that I had for week 2, and I didn't really look at it for this week at all. It was just like, that was my plan last week, and I'm gonna fucking ship it. So, did I get to see the fight that, like, the speed down came from a false counterattack, which, well, like, I guess maybe his potency could have been in consideration or something. Yeah, maybe, but I did not do that myself personally. I'm still just sending it on 5x R9s with 5x bulk builds with a Balin Kron with bulk stats rolled and a bulk level 3 and
yeah, looking at the stats for this, it looks like Bane struggles against one of two things: just sheer bulk, like bulk plus a bunch of health, or Balin Kron with a bunch of offense. So,
yep.
I guess if you had a good Balin Kron and you wanted to lean into the offense for the true damage, you could, but I mean, I feel like it's just bulk.
Well, I think that if you do, like you said, if you happen to have that Balin Kron and you have, I don't know, any amount of offense on it, because that's what I have. I would say I have like 60% offense. I would put that in okay, you have a token amount. It's okay.
I'm saying I would consider remodding, but I still wouldn't consider it heavily.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if you haven't remodded, it's already too late. But that said, like, I would probably still employ the Balin Kron here for the rest of this week. It is probably the most threatening available version of this, team. I don't know if anybody has an alternative take on that, though.
I just think bulk. I think bulk is the most important thing on this team. I don't know. If that's your Balin Kron, that's your Balin Kron. If that's not your Balin Kron, it's not your Balin Kron.
Yeah, well, for anybody having the Balin Kron, certainly they probably don't only have the Balin Kron as an option. But
what I mean is, Great Mother still loves the Balin Kron, and I would still prioritize it there if you have a good bulk level 3 with a good health number on it.
You know what? I think that's an interesting thought. If you're in the looking up stuff mood, would you check the Balin Kron on Great Mothers to see if that impedes Malgus? Because that actually can bring us... So, by the way, I don't know if anybody had anything else. I know some folks do offense modding on Ray, but I don't think any of us do. I know that I think a couple rounds of last week, Aesop Rock, who does have offense modding, had Erodium, so he has a little intel. I didn't hear anything decisive either way, so I just kind of leaned further into the theme I already was going.
What was your question to look up? Sorry.
Oh yeah, so the next topic I just wanted to point out.
No, you had a question about looking stuff up.
Yeah, it ties in with our next topic is the Great Mothers. Here, if you were going to look it up with the Balin Kron on, just to see if that jams up Malgus at all, because I don't think this week I fought it with the Malgus Kron on, but I have fought it in dangerous versions of both set 19 and set 18 with Malgus, and I'm pleased to report, guys, slam dunk. The set 18 obviously takes a little longer to get down than the set 19 version. But as long as you play it like a control fight and maximize your ability blocks and your fears, worked beautifully. I was really pleased with that. I don't know if you guys have something else you want to report on it, though. What you say?
I misplayed. Go ahead.
I wouldn't be afraid to take Malgus in against Great Mothers, regardless of Kron. And that's actually what kind of led me to, when we get to our favorite attacks, I was trying to think of a better way to repurpose Great Mothers, because it's a bummer to lose them off of D. But yeah, in fact, in one of my battles, I was kind of had the luxury at that point of knowing the match was secured because the opponent wasn't going to get through, that I decided to try. I wanted to see Qui-Gon Jinn, and I know there's a lot of RNG to this, but Qui-Gon Jinn against a Great Mothers with Bulk Kron, and I timed out on Morgan left, but like it was a pretty thick Kron, and Qui-Gon Jinn was able to get through the rest of that squad. I wouldn't want to rely on it, except if you're like just carefree of banners and just desperately trying to clear. But like it wasn't an impressive performance by Great Mothers.
Okay, good to know.
I'll give two pieces. So I tried what we talked about, Tass, and looking at AI priority for my round one. They put the fast mothers like, so, I'm going to try this. We talked about it. I want to see what they do. And of course, my JKA still got doomed. So that's just the hearsay. So I put in, I think, Shock and GMY because I was looking for what we talked about. I wanted to make sure it went fast. GMY thinking they're going to be a higher priority. Did not happen that way. They still got JKA, so it wasn't really successful, but maybe a study of one. The other piece I would call is my mothers held against the Malgus team, but I also lost with the Malgus team. But I would say that was more of my misplay, where I had something that was going to be the point of Morgan going down and then swapped to mothers for whatever reason. I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, well, she's going to be close enough, and that was a mistake. So I would say user error, definitely going to play a part of it. But that was, I want to say the 25%. And I did the same thing, and it was, I should have still had it. So it's like, I can see it not being a problem, but if you make the mistake, they're unforgiving in the mistake you're going to make, and they'll quickly let you know that you messed up.
Fair enough. Dagger, I don't know. Did you see anything interesting about that matchup? Malgus versus Great Mothers with Balin Kron? It's possible you might be tied up in kid-related stuff.
No, I'm looking. I'm 'Looking. Hold on. I did a couple of searches. Then I have to do attacking. %68% against the Balin Kron.
Okay.
This is Relic 8 minimum, Kyber 1, Division 1.
Okay.
No cleanup. 68%.
So it might make a difference if you're trying to block people like me out.
And that includes some shitty comps that include like Acolyte. So if we like take out Acolyte, it's actually closer to, I mean, it's only 22 fights, but it's 55%.
Are the teams that held the God offense?
What do you mean? Oh, are you talking about the offense on the Great Mother's Crown?
On the Balin Crown, yeah.
Oh, I guess I could filter by the Great Mother's Crown. Or
No, just like look at the matches.
200% offense.
Battles.
Yeah, 200% offense, 277% offense. This one was just 87% health, 48% protection. This one was 200% health. Offense. Yeah. This one was 50% offense. This one was 230% offense. So yeah, it looks like the high offense is better.
Okay.
Yeah, small sample sizes.
Well, my suspicion is, having done it a few times, I would say the bulk is more dangerous to the Malgus counter than the offense, because you're able to blunt a lot of that with fear. So, meow, says the kitty. I don't want to hear any of that from you. But, yeah, I think that's enough on that one. Appreciate you guys. Let me check the next topic. Yes. So, Queen Amidala, Fatal. I think I saw you do this in round 1 of last week, and I was happy to be monkey see, monkey do, using gas with Krex against Queen Amidala. Couple different comps. Didn't make a difference. I think what I observed from you doing it, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, was you were just trying to hold off on using Krex's AoE until you had otherwise gotten rid of any foresight that was there blocking you. And
That was the attempt. I don't know if that was the correct choice. Like, the foresight was replenishing itself often enough for the cop that Tom had posted that, like, I was like waiting for the perfect moment, and the perfect moment just never came. That at some point it was just like, man, just pop the foresight, just
fair, and I think I fought one that was having Grandmaster in it, so certainly frequent. But I think I should have just been opening up with it, the AOE as soon as I could, because if if yours was anything like mine, I had so much turn meter coming back into Krex that I could have easily lapped their team 2-3 times to the point where I actually could have had the cooldown back before it would have been a problem for their next, I don't know, foresight of any kind to go out. But regardless, them having something like Grandmaster to spread more buffs just made it all the easier. After Gas stood up from the first break, the first intermission, you just laid them out 2 matches in a row. So thank you for that. That was a good one. And it was 64 both times. I love that. Other folks got the same result watching me, so we done good for the people on that one.
Yeah. I would say, spoiler, that was used all week on me. Gas was the number one go-to for killing my queens all week. Like, I looked through all the people's things, and then that was a common one. And that was just standard Gas. I like the Krex that felt more control savvy, so what Fatal did, but they were using standards, and it was looking just fine.
And well, what were they getting banners wise? Because my suspicion is like it's the commitment of Krex that probably also gets you the extra banner 2-3.
If you want to go, I'll go and look at what we're going. But
sure,
it wasn't.
yeah.
It was a 62 maybe or something like that. 61, I think.
It might be a difference just that small, but yeah, I mean, it depends on how efficient you expect the matchup to be. I don't know, but yeah, the Krex did make it feel butter. So I will give it credit for that. All right. That brought us to the end of meta-analysis. Any other meta-related topics you guys wanted to cover before we move in? Move in and move on.
Oh, 57 tasks. So one character down. So like I said, a good differentiator, but still a one shot in a world. So it's not too shabby. So definitely
is a pretty decent tax. I got to tell you, I'm down with it. So fine to have it. All right, guys. Next,
we've already.
Sorry.
Oh, I'll toss it in real quick.
Please,
we've already
please.
kind of talked about it, but yeah, no, the bad match against Great Mothers is.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned it. I'll follow up on you. Go for that.
Yeah, it's really just trying to look to exploit the fact that Great Mothers are like, haha, I have removed all your protection. And then Fugitive Omega's lead says, yeah, well, anytime that you fall below 100% health, 4 people take bonus turns. I played it 3 times this week, and won twice. And one time they just opened up with a Morgan Mass, and my record got fucking trashed. So I cannot say it's 100% safe. But yeah, we're in a weird situation right now where, depending on how the Night Sisters are built, you know, if we're talking, is this like Morgan fastest, Spirit fastest? Then it raises certain questions because, like, obviously the protection on your record does not matter. And then depending on how they open the defense on your record, if it's just like checking against Spirit's first turn, your defense also might not matter. Or if we're talking Morgan Mass, then your defense kind of starts to matter again. But like, depending on which way the winds blow, this is a possible matchup where like the matchup could just like live or die based on your record's health alone, not even the defense, depending on who you take a hit from first. But then, yeah, at the moment that you take a hit, yeah, you have a lot of control. You just keep on healing up Wrecker. You get the AoE days out, and they'll like keep on making more stealth, and you'll keep taking more bonus turns, and then you'll keep on AoE daysing some more and getting more offense, and you just pick them apart and kind of flip their game plan on their head and turn it into your strength.
Nice. I I do want to give a quick shout out to the Fugitive Omega team because I had that Bane encounter that I told you about. I want to say, what was it? What did I do? It was against the solo slacker is the point. I chipped down the sides. It was a final attempt just against the big man himself. And of course, if I had went in with the regular Hunter Bad Batch lead, he's got a turn meter removal from his leadership, which won't really help us kill a solo slacker, or at least conceptually it doesn't. And Fallen Omega was amazing. Like, we got the job done. It was scary at first, but yeah, Wrecker held just fine for us. Managed to just burn him down, focus straight away. So it was a gamble because I would have preferred to use something like, Geo's there as well, but I'd already burned up my GBA with Sith Eternal, stuff like that. So off the table. That was nice. So while I'm not expecting a lot from that team until we have the full team, credit given where credit due. All right. So yes, thanks for that, Fatal. Appreciate the detail. On to best attack and defense of the week. I'm going to pull up mine and hopefully give you guys another couple of minutes. And we already talked about the Malgus, so nothing really to cover there. CLS versus Saw. I wanted to mention, and maybe if anybody knows if this is more problematic with Krex, but I fought Saw without Krex in it, and I saw CLS was effective in round 1. I think I did that every round this week. Maybe 64, 65, possibly as low as 63, but it was solid, guys. I mean, you just wrap down Saw by any means, and then Kyle and clean up the remains. I think I may have killed Baze before I killed Kyle, but regardless, it was still pretty smooth. I like that one. Yeah, JMK versus Lord Vader. Man, I just did not care for that, so learn from me, don't do that. Alright, nothing interesting attack-wise from that one. Yes, this was a tale of woe. Balin without the Balancron does have a significantly reduced win rate versus Rey with Exile Ezra. Why? Because the Balin level 9 imparts ability to immunity to ability block. Which is really great for a guy who has multiple ways of applying ability block, some of which are even locked. And I was reminded of that there, so don't do that. If I had just used Balin this round against Ahsoka and then taken Leia, who I had anyway, who I had to use anyway to kill Rey in the first place, that would have been 40 banners saved. So, I enjoyed that. Yes, we had such a good time that round. Yes. Yeah, there's the Omega attack I was telling you about. We did lose Wrecker in the end, but a noble deed. All right, nothing too interesting there. Defense-wise, yeah. So I was wondering about this. People have been telling me in Twitch chat all week that they've been using Traya versus Queen, and I've been concerned that if you're fighting at our level where there's Datacrons with high levels of offense or armor penetration or even crit damage on them, I guess, that could be a serious problem for your Traya and company, right? I have sample size of 1 here. I think this is the only Traya that went against my Queen this week, but it did wipe out, and I'll take it. Yep, this is a guy who tried Bane set and it didn't work. Glad for that. Yeah, Reva, all this other stuff struggled.
GG says about 87%.
Sorry, say again?
.gg says about 87%. That's Kyber 1 and R8 minimum.
I'm sorry, for which matchup?
Freya versus Queen.
Really?
Pretty
okay,
consistent,
yeah.
about 87%.
That sounds
and this is like R8 minimum characters in the entire fight. Kyber 1, Division 1.
Okay, I take your point. I was happy to prepare for week 2 an Eidenkron. I think another Monkey See, Monkey Do from Fatal here. We have the Buffs Up Basic level 3, Grit 6, Snow Trooper 9. Set Eiden down with Snow, Range, Shore, Death. And yeah, that wasn't the... Yeah, he tried Wampa the first go, which was ambitious, I must say. And I'm delighted to see that after 18 seconds on the first go and 14 seconds, he decided to put a little more respect on it and took the mirror. So, fair enough. That's about it for me. I think round 3 was a lot of great lessons learned for me and another good long stream, but most of the struggle was born again by careless error. So that covers me. Dagger, how about you? Tell us of the arduous struggles that formed last week for you.
I lost a handful of fights due to not checking crons or mods.
Mm-hmm. The importance of reading. Yes, literacy remains important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I have a couple of fights. One was I took the wrong Datacron in against Ahsoka with my Magma Trooper because all the white Imperial Troopers look the same, and I'll hear nothing to the contrary. And then I didn't check the Jabacron. Took an Afrin and just casually had like plus 160 or 150% tenacity. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, you party hard. Appreciate that. TJ, how about you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think I had more than 20 scored against me this week.
Okay,
so,
nice. Yeah.
Defense putting in his work.
What was it you were saying before stream? You think you're another 4 weeks of fighting, like excluding break weeks, or another 4 weeks of fighting?
No. No, I will probably be Kyber 1 after week 1 of 3v3. Either during or after week 1 of 3v3.
Okay, we'll see.
Based on the squish.
So how long do you think it'll take you to get up to the top 100? How long do you think it'll take you to get up there?
I don't know. How big Kyber 1?
I have no idea. I'm not, but you know what? I don't have to know because I don't have to climb.
I mean, it's not about whether you have to know or not. It's whether you go look for actively available information.
No, that's fair. And I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either, so I'm not trying to throw shade at you. I'm just saying it's not about the... you tried to throw some shade. I just wanted to push back.
Oh, always. Always. Hate.
Yeah. Basically, I'll be in Kyber 1 next.
Okay.
And then, as far as climbing through Kyber 1, what is your current skill rating?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Here, we'll see. 4361.
Yeah, it'll take me a while to get to that. It's about 300 per season, so probably next 3v3 I'll be where you're at.
Okay, all right. We'll see you soon.
Again, squish depending.
We will.
But the problem is I found this out. I found this out actually this week. Regardless of how good or bad my opponents are or their rosters are, I have hit that place again where my real life time is going to start not allowing me to play because the further I climb up, the more I'm going to have to clear. So we're going to start hitting that wall of I won't have time to play GAC, especially in 3v3 because it takes like 2 hours to fucking do it.
Fair.
Anyway, just to give you the update, yeah, I'm on my way.
You gotta, you have to cut ties. You have to tell kids, I'm sorry, it's Grand Arena time. I understand it's dark. I understand you wanted dinner 6 hours ago. I'm sure you'll be resourceful, but Daddy needs those crystals. Right?
I will not be doing any of that.
No? Okay.
And for those, by the way, that are keeping track, that was 1 week, roughly, that Dagger's relative positivity on 3v3 lasted. 1 week. And then resume the crapping on it.
It wasn't positivity. It was resignation to the fact that it's better than 5v5.
It's just, what it is that Dagger is the eternal contrarian. He's the eternal contrarian. Fair. No,
I appreciate you, Sasha. Tass says mom wears army boots and no one loves him.
And he's the eternal contrarian, and the grass is always greener on the other side. Always. Just I watch this man hop the fence every season and say the other season's better. Just watch and be amazed.
No, the problem with 5v5 is that now that I'm back, I was hoping, and I told you this, I was hoping that I would have had, that something would have changed. But climbing up through like the Kybers, it's very clear that the meta hasn't shifted very much. Everyone has the same teams. I'm fighting the same teams you are. They're just not as good as the teams you're fighting. It's 3v3 will be the same, but there'll be more interesting fights, hope.
Fair enough. All right, TJ, take me to the fights you want me to highlight. Favorite attack and defense of the week.
Favorite? Do you want to start with defense or I guess attack? Attack. I guess they're both the same, so it's round 3. For defense, it's your super LV team, what I expect to be the staple. The reason I pointed out for the defense piece is the second team he took in. So if you want to go to my defense and then go to the super team.
But this is your defense in round 3, right. And this guy failed Bane. I heard this was a dunk, though.
And it like I said, we'll call it for whatever it is, but I'm glad to see. But it's not that one. It's that. Seeing the SLKR, that is speaking volumes to how, obviously the strength of the team. And from what I hear, it's basically all the rage right now for all of Kyber 1, that if you can do this, the super team is still the super team. It is just the creme de la creme chef kiss of what you can place on defense. And as you have seen and tried and failed, because it's just too much oomph. And what do you do for it? So it's like you get to see here that where I was at or whatever it was doing is like it's holding it down. And it literally held down before it took him to the point he had to get to the JMK, and that was it. There was nothing else he could do for whatever I was doing. Offense, my big one was Treya on Great Mothers. That was my fun one. And then for my favorite attack of the week, it was Fatals. Fatals using the fugitive on the mothers was chef kiss. Seeing a new toy get to be effective was so good. But for me, the getting the Treya to work on it and it doing well, was nice.
So
that was fun.
We will note that it is actually a pretty well built Datacron, right? 170% armor penetration, about 9% offense, 16% crit damage. It's pretty good. And I wonder, Dagger, you pulled that up earlier. I don't know if you still had that tab. I don't know how much the 4th and 5th characters on that queen might make a difference.
I feel like it does. I feel like
Not
it does.
Not much.
Yeah.
They were all between like 82 and 90.
I honestly do feel like the ones that are going to go faster are going to give more damage. These two are going slower.
Yeah,
Obviously, shock is not there, but like the Barris on there, no.
I appreciate what you're saying. I'm just saying like it didn't look like there was a major difference. There was a couple that were like 100%, but I don't think anything was like under 82.
That's what I'm saying. It's like for me personally doing the fight, this was this was nothing detrimental to my team. Because of the fact that Savage is going to keep going and pounding the team down. She's novel having Barris there, but doesn't feel right. Like, if that was probably GMY or Mace or something else, maybe. But she didn't add any value, in my opinion, and I just trampled it. That never felt like it was going to be anything crazy. I never felt like I was even close to being hurt. The team just piled right through them. Like clockwork. It was easy.
Fair enough. All right. Appreciate that, TJ. Sasha, Aisha, how about you? Favorite attack and defense?
Yeah, for attack, there were a couple that I'd say stand out. One was, like I alluded to earlier, was like Great Mothers. How was I going to use Great Mothers? I'd been a little disappointed with what I saw as logical targets on offense with them, but I wanted to aim high and just work my way down from there, and I was pleasantly surprised. I had my Great Mother's work to take out a GL Ahsoka with ATF in a one shot. I'm not saying I would recommend it.
This is fabulous, though. Yeah, I see you almost timed out, but geez.
5 minutes and 6 seconds. So I clearly got some leeway with it. So great return on value for Great Mothers. I felt like so that was nice to have. Then like so yeah, so that was way up there for me. The other attack that I'll share with that was a failure and a reminder is I brought my like best JML squad. Again, relative like to JML squads, but like it was the best that I could do the right comp of Jedi against a plain vanilla Seer Malicos crew, like nothing else special. And that was in the last round. And I was so impressed just with the reminder of what like Malicos, even without super, LD super team, Malicos without SK, without like any other toys, is just like, yeah, a bunch of Jedis and just built a pile of rocks on top of my squad so quickly. So that failure was impressive. Just as a reminder, that dude's badass. Then on defense, I mean, it's not quite fair because I think really the like determining battles in my matches ended up being the SLKR ones. So I actually think using two tanks really helped me because even though Hux died, it ended up eating a ton of strong counters and trying to clear through it. I think that was Aesop maybe. So yeah, I think that was I'd say really really the top standout. And I had faced that LV super team. I set it in round one, and so I'll call that defense out. I set it not in round one, sorry, round two. Maybe that was around three. I think I set the LV super team, and it was one shot by a Leia squad. So I know it can be beastie, and like everything that TJ was saying about how like daunting that squad is, totally true. Like amen to that. But I was impressed to see. I think it was Aesop that one shot it using like just ordinary Leia and Rebels there. So beatable, tough but beatable.
I only want to add that was Aesop. And I would say, if I'm not mistaken, Tass did take a Leia squad. And did you not try that and did it not go?
I think I took I took it against a well-built Lord Vader. I think in round one, and
I just want to call that out.
It did not.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to call this out that and that's Tass is no slouch, and so I put that out there. But
I think that was Zid. So yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, it was, he lost. I think Aesop lost a couple of characters in that battle, but regardless,
he got the one.
Yeah. I did still hold the top front, which meant a lot to me because it meant I got to go 3-0 without having to do a single fleet attack this week, and that was my major. Forget the literal victories. That moral victory was what mattered most to me.
Nice. And now that you mentioned how many holds your slacker got, I went back to look at my round two to see because I remember it stood out that it took 17 attempts for him to clear my slacker. You just have to wonder how many of those are just, cooldown pulls. But we can actually see a reasonable number of sincere attempts of trying to kill something. There's a couple cooldown pulls. Man, no, he really tried a bunch of stuff. And then he ended up using Jabba to get it down to just Slacker and Faust. Then a whole dash team to get it down to Slacker. Another cooldown pull. And then Qui-Gon for the finish. Okay, I was curious how he did that. So, good to know.
Yeah, we've all been there. Those are miserable experiences being on the water side of that water on rock type of thing. So, we've all been there.
Very fair. All right, thanks for sharing that. Fatal, how about you? Favorite attack and defense of the week? Where are we going?
Fucking nowhere. Honestly, I don't have anything that we haven't already talked about. You can see not a whole lot of matches got played, and then the last two rounds, opponents just played exceedingly safe. That there is jack shit to say is being interesting.
Completely fair.
I guess the one that's not entirely true. I didn't have my Starkiller modding, and I full sent it on Tom Ford's Ray anyway. And I ended up timing out, but it had a kind of cool moment where, like, the Tom Ford comp, I was like, no, this will block Starkiller, but I just want to, like, play the fight out anyway. And came down to a crucial moment where I full set a Starkiller second special AoE, where the enemy team just had a bunch of buffs racked up, and so I had to go for a cascade on like 2 or 3 consecutive bonus turns to try to flip the fight because I was clearly about to lose otherwise. So that was kind of a cool moment where like I ended up timing out, but I was like, 20 seconds away from closing it out. Not a good fight. Don't do it. But also the bonus turn reset on kill is a pretty cool thing that is about to expire. So,
Very fair.
not here anymore.
No, I appreciate that. Okay, guys, that wraps up that segment. Let's bring it back around to takeaways and final thoughts. So here we are. We're heading into week 3. This is the planning stage for the first round of this week. As far as my lessons, so tighten up, man. If I'm going to do Bane for Lord Vader, then first I better check the win rates and see if there's anything that matters with the second Sith, because we saw that can fail, and I had heard that was a slam dunk, so nothing is safe. But if I am doing Bane versus Slacker, then I better bring Sass. Check out what I'm doing versus that Lord Vader. Let's see. And of course, the elephant in the room that we really haven't talked about, and we'll cover this in more detail, in the preview episode for the next season, when we typically talk about new Datacron sets. But there are some eager beavers that we will be fighting this week that have sprung for a handful of the new Datacron set 20. There are some monsters out there. I myself am not unarmed. I do not have the finest versions of any of these things, trust me, but they are minimally functional, and we'll see how they go. So what I'm winding myself up to saying is I have to count myself as needing +1 major team for attack, because I'm expecting a gnarly Jabba, a gnarly Rey, a gnarly something. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. How about you, Dagger? What you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, I have the Hunter level 9, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really do much with this new set. I'm not the hardcore Datacron person who goes all in.
Mm-hmm. And from all of the lessons learned from your arduous struggles over the last 2 weeks, what lessons are you looking forward to applying against your mighty opponents in the week to come?
Well, first, I want to tell you to eat shit. And that no one loves you because of that intro. Yeah, I don't know. I don't expect myself to have a whole lot of I don't expect a whole lot of pushback for at least a couple more weeks.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about this whole thing, and it's not because I didn't fight a whole bunch of stuff. It's just, yeah, I'm still fuming about the Hunter Datacron thing. Yeah, yeah, I'm very unhappy about that, but we don't need to rehash it.
Remember, Goose Fraba.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, this day was dampened by that knowledge, and this game is currently annoying me. But yeah, I'll let whoever's next go.
Fair enough.
I'm just being a sour puss.
DJ, how about you? Lessons learned from the difficult 1-2 week that I also had. What lessons are you looking to apply? What tips, tricks do you have for the folks at home? Let's hear it.
Checking the magma veers to see if the cheese in line is one of my first ones. Second one, checking Balencron. Everybody's going to have Dre, so it's going for that. Because to me, again, we talked about it, and I've told you consecutively every time we come and do it. I check that cron now. That is like step 2, because if it's there, I'm playing the fight differently, or I'm going to adjust what I'm going to plan for when I'm doing it.
Well, and to be clear, just make it stark for the folks. If you see that they're setting Slacker with Balaam, what are you doing?
If I'm changing it up, I'm probably going with the double tank setup.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about fighting it. Like when you
That's what I'm saying. If I'm fighting it, I'm looking at how I'm going to adjust it and go from there. I'm going with full money. I'm not going to, like I said, I had GK on defense. I had things like that. So I'm looking for the Balencron to see if the offense is there, because it's not so cut and dry, I'm going to try to increase my odds of whatever I can because I do think the double tank has merit. I think all of those
took
things
the words
are there.
right out of my mouth. That I'm thinking about keeping both GK and Mace just to try that once because I can absolutely appreciate the randomly being able to select somebody out of stealth and put them down.
That definitely is a big piece of it. The time bomb, because obviously with her, if she doesn't go or nothing happens, then you're just stuck waiting because you can't kill anybody. So it's like that's the big one for me is check the Balancron, see if there's high offense because that ticking time bomb moves a lot faster. You need to get through it. So those are the key pieces that I've taken away from my rough weeks is just doing some of the homework to look at it. You don't have to scout. It's just do some of the basics because I can adjust my Ahsoka team. If you're not set for Magma Cheese, I can set an Ahsoka team, maybe make it a little lighter and make things a little other. I am one of those people who got a couple of the new crons because I'm a big fan of them. I think there's going to be a lot of fun with that. I know I talked you into some of it. I am the Thanos meme. It did cost me something, and I know it cost you everything, so I'll leave it to that. But I'm excited for that. That's where my planning's coming in as well. And does that get to change up how giving you new problems will be for me?
Very good. All right. Sasha Aisha, how about you, sir? What's cooking in the pot? What you looking forward to here in the final week to close it out? And by the way, this is the last hurrah, set 18, folks. Get your yucks in. This is it. But yeah, what you got?
That's right. That's right. I'm looking forward to memorizing the Venn diagram of smugglers and mercenaries. Like for example, Han and Chewie, they're both smugglers, but only one's a mercenary. But anyway, point being, I think there are going to be some interesting flavors with the new Datacrons, and including what flavor is that a cartel squad. It's already got me uttering a phrase that I never ever thought I would say, which is how is my mob enforcer modded?
Right?
Told
right?
you, Tass.
At the same time,
trust me, I'm just as surprised as anybody.
I really like the Cad Bane one, but yeah.
Just use Cad Bane's better. You'll thank me later.
Totally believe that. I do digger. I'm actually. I like Cad Bane. I actually thought about taking Cad Bane to R9 for because I'm such a big Fleet fan, but I ended up just picking an R9.
No, it's so tough to justify.
I know it really is. It really is, and there probably is some little corner case, but I'm looking forward to that, and just hopefully that brings some defensive viability to the Hutt cartel, at least until Professor Fatal puts the solution on the board. And then I think for this week, I know I'm going to see all the new toys, just given the teams that are the players that I'm playing against. So I'm excited to learn, and I know it's going to be trial by error for a lot of my counters on it, but so just enthusiastic generally. I'll miss you guys. I'm out for next week's show, but I will try and listen, and I'll be back the week after because I'll be curious what early impressions people have of these Datacrons. That's it.
Fair. I appreciate that. Yeah. This actually is going to be like a mini week 1 for those of us that are going to be fighting people that have some of the new Datacron set 20. So Wild West here to close it out. Maybe a little taste of the first week of 3 versus 3. A little foretaste of that. We'll find out. All right, that brings us to you, Fatal. How about you? What are your thoughts? You had all this enthusiasm for week 1. You were deflated by not getting to lock in with week 2. You've been struggling, feeling unwell, hopefully on the mend. How's the energy? What are the thoughts? What's the scheme for week 3?
I'm still hopeful. I'm mostly just hoping that it's not too little, too late at this point. That teams have been a bit more solved than they were at the start of week 2. That if I'm looking to go wide on a board, maybe I might feel a little bit of concern over. But I put a lot of work in, so we'll see what happens. And if it doesn't happen, then maybe 5v5 is still just where 5v5 is. But it's a fun experiment nonetheless. So Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV. We'll be having some fun this last week, doing some weird shit, possibly screwing over my offense by posting too much, but it's all in the pursuit of trying to get a-holed.
Fantastic.
Hey, Fatal, as you looking at, and I don't know if what you expect to run into this week with it, but as you look at these various Cut Cartel level 9 options, what are your thoughts on them?
I don't think any of them will hard block Night Sisters, but I think the Tenacity one probably is the sweatiest looking of the bunch. But I don't know. I look forward to opponents posting it, and then I can try to solve them.
Yep. Twitch.tv/playbook. Exactly. Okay.
Playbook TV, right?
Playbook TV.
Yeah,
That's
see,
right. My bad.
See. All right, I appreciate you, Sasha. All right, yeah, well, you took the words out of my mouth, Fatal. You are the only other content creator on the stream here on the show, so, yep, that's where you can find him. Make sure you check it out. A lot of cutting-edge play over there. And, yeah, I've already stated my lessons, so it's going to be a interesting week here. I enter with trepidation. Spoiler, this season has been a wealth of variety, right? You've seen me fight Zid twice, fight Pumper twice, 3 times in 3 weeks, I want to say in his case. And, you know, just lurking in the background for most of the streams has been our dear friend Arsenal416 saying, you know, when are we going to match up, Tess? When are we going to match up? Good news, buddy. We're here in round 1. So that ought to be fun, and I have to go plan for that now and see what he's got set 20-wise. Anyways, good luck in all your preparations. We'll see you guys next week to wrap up this season and make ready, for the new Datacron set to emerge for 3 versus 3. Until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.